Discovery changes everything. It's the phase where confidence dies quietly, where people who have lived their entire lives on charm and intimidation suddenly realize that paper does not care who you are, how you smile, or who your parents clap for. Paper remembers. 48 hours after the judge called recess, my phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Robinson, a calm female voice said. This is the clerk from Judge Sutter's chambers. You'll be receiving formal discovery requests this afternoon. Please review them carefully. Carefully. That word echoed. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't reacting. I was preparing. The discovery packet arrived by courier. Thick, heavy, serious. My parents' affidavits. Kendra's sworn statements. Email summaries. Phone logs. And attached, an itemized timeline claiming concern for my declining mental stability. I read it slowly. They had rehearsed this. Doctor appointments exaggerated. Stress episodes reframed as breakdowns. Financial strain weaponized as incompetence. They didn't just lie. They curated. Then I saw it. A date. 6 months ago, according to Kendra's claim, we had a heartfelt conversation where I allegedly admitted I couldn't manage the house. That same date appeared again. In an email thread. A city planning notice. Not sent to me. Sent to Kendra. My hands went cold. I went to the attic. Pulled out Lillian's folder. This time I wasn't guessing. The zoning maps lined up. The parcel numbers matched. The proposed riverfront expansion had been drafted years ago. Lillian hadn't known when. But she'd known something was coming. And Kendra? She knew exactly when. I requested my own discovery. Phone metadata. Email headers. Financial disclosures. My parents objected. Judge Sutter denied it. Immediately. The emails were worse than I expected. Kendra writing to a city consultant. We're trying to secure the property before public disclosure. My mother replying. She won't fight. She never does. My father forwarding. To understand what energy really means, imagine a small child. A mischievous kid, the kind who's always getting into trouble. He owns a set of 28 indestructible toy blocks, all exactly the same. Every evening, when the child goes to bed, his mother counts the blocks. No matter how messy the room looks, she always finds that the total is 28. One day, the child hides a block by dropping it into the bathtub full of water. The block disappears from sight, but the water level rises slightly. The mother notices something interesting. Each block makes the water rise by exactly 1/4 of an inch. So even though she can't see the block, she can still count it by measuring the water level. Later, the child hides some blocks inside a locked toy box. The mother can't open it, but she weighs the box. Each block weighs exactly 3 ounces. By checking how much heavier the box is, she can calculate how many blocks are inside. As time goes on, the child invents more hiding places. The mother's counting method becomes more complicated. The number of blocks she can see, plus the extra weight of the box divided by 3 ounces, plus the extra water level divided by 1/4 inch, and so on for every hiding place. No matter how clever the child gets, the final count always comes out to 28. Here's the key point. In the final calculation, the blocks themselves disappear. What remains is just a collection of measurements added together in a precise way that always gives the same number. That constant number is exactly what energy is like. Energy isn't made of little pieces floating around. We don't actually see energy. Instead, we measure height, speed, temperature, stretching, electrical charge, and combine those measurements in a special way. When we do, the total stays the same. Energy is nature's way of forcing us to keep perfect records. In the next part, we'll see how this idea explains why energy is never used up, only transformed from one form into another. Now that we understand energy as a number rather than a thing, let's see how it behaves in the real world. Take your car, for example. The gasoline in your tank has chemical energy stored in the way its molecules are arranged. When the engine burns the fuel, chemical energy heat. The burning gasoline makes hot gases expand quickly. Heat motion energy. The gases push the pistons, turning them into motion that drives the car forward. Some energy becomes sound and electricity. Exhaust noise, car lights, radio. all come from energy-changing forms. Some energy spreads out as heat. Radiator, friction, and air warming up. Energy is not lost, it just changes. Here's the important idea. Energy is never used up or destroyed. It only changes form. Gasoline doesn't disappear. Its energy becomes motion, heat, sound, and electricity. The total amount of energy, if you counted it carefully, remains the same. Let's look at another example, a pendulum. At the highest point, it has gravitational potential energy because of its height. As it swings down, that energy turns into motion energy, kinetic energy. At the lowest point, the pendulum is moving fastest. Almost all gravitational energy has become motion. As it swings back up, motion energy turns back into gravitational energy. If there were no friction or air resistance, the pendulum could swing forever because the total energy stays constant. Even when some energy seems lost as heat or sound in real life, if you include that energy in your calculations, the total still balances. Key takeaway: energy isn't fuel that runs out. It's a number that tracks how much change or work can happen, no matter the form it takes. Let's see energy in action with something we can all picture: a pendulum or a swing at the park. At the highest point, the object has gravitational potential energy because it's up high. As it starts to fall, that energy turns into motion energy, kinetic energy. At the lowest point, it moves fastest. Almost all potential energy has become motion. As it rises on the other side, motion energy turns back into gravitational energy. If there were no friction or air resistance, it could swing forever. Energy just trades back and forth between forms, but the total stays the same. Now think about speed. If you double the speed of a moving object, its motion energy doesn't just double, it quadruples. That's why a car going twice as fast takes 4 times the distance to stop, and why high-speed crashes are so much worse than city speed ones. Or consider dropping an object. Drop from double the height, speed doubles. At the bottom, energy increases by 4 times. Gravity is constant, distance doubles, but energy depends on speed squared. Even simple playground swings follow this rule. Push a child on the swing, you add motion energy. Gravity and the chains do the rest, trading motion and height energy. Over time, energy spreads into air and friction, so you push again, but the total energy is still conserved. Key point: whether it's a pendulum, a falling ball, or a child on a swing, energy isn't lost. It just changes form, often in ways that are easy to see, motion, or hard to see, heat, sound. Energy comes in many different forms, but the total amount always stays the same if nothing enters or leaves the system. Let's look at the main types. Gravitational energy. Anything up high has energy because gravity can pull it down. A rock on a cliff has more energy than the same rock on the ground. Formula: roughly weight times height. Motion energy, kinetic energy. Anything moving has energy. Faster objects have much more motion energy than slower ones. Motion energy grows with the square of speed. Double the speed, 4 times the energy. Heat energy. Tiny motion of atoms and molecules. Hot things have faster moving molecules. Friction, rubbing, and engines turn motion into heat. Chemical energy. Stored in fuels, food, batteries. Rearranging molecules releases energy as heat, motion, or electricity. Electrical energy. Flow of charges through wires. Powers lights, radios, TVs, and almost all electronics. Radiant energy, light and waves. Energy carried by light, radio waves, or sunlight. Travels through space to warm, illuminate, or transmit information. Nuclear energy. Energy stored in the nucleus of atoms. Rearranging protons and neutrons releases huge amounts of energy. Mass energy. From Einstein's famous formula, tiny bits of mass can turn into energy like in nuclear reactions. Example: hydroelectric dam. Water held high has gravitational energy. Falling water spins turbines. Motion energy generators produce electric energy. Electricity lights bulbs, radiant energy, or heats a toaster, heat energy. Through all these transformations, the total energy stays the same, minus tiny losses like friction or heat escaping. Key takeaway: energy wears many disguises, but the number behind it never changes. We've seen how energy changes forms, from height to motion, chemical to heat, electrical to light, but the total always stays the same. Why does nature do this? It turns out there's a deeper reason tied to time itself. Nature's rules don't change over time. Experiments today work the same way as they did yesterday. This symmetry forces energy to stay constant. Think about a perfect machine like the pulleys or levers engineers used long ago. If you lift a weight using a perfectly frictionless machine, all the energy you put in can be recovered exactly. No matter how cleverly you arrange it, you cannot get more out than you put in. If you could, you'd have a perpetual motion machine, which is impossible. Even the paths objects take, balls rolling down hills, pendulums swinging, planets orbiting, follow a principle called the path of least action. Nature chooses paths where tiny variations don't change the total action. Action involves the difference between motion energy and potential energy summed over time. In simple terms, objects move in ways that balance energy perfectly. In the quantum world, particles do something similar. Many possible paths exist, but only paths with the right balance survive. Total energy is still conserved, even the tiniest processes with photons or electrons. The big picture: energy is not a material stuff. It's a number that nature keeps constant, no matter how things move, fall, burn, or shine. By keeping track of this number, we can predict motion, machines, stars, atoms, and even quantum particles. So, while we may never see energy itself, it's one of the most reliable concepts in all of science. Final takeaway: energy is nature's bookkeeping system, always conserved, always changing form, always helping us understand the world. If you want, I can also combine all 6 parts into a single, flowing script ready for YouTube video or narration, with hooks, transitions, and punchy lines. Do you want me to do that?